Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to a special edition of Crafty Chemist Designs. How's everybody doing this St. Patrick's Day? I am doing this special live to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. What's everybody doing to celebrate? Let me know in the comments and I will share to the group while I am watching for your comments. Let me know if you did anything fun for St. Patrick's Day. Okay, I posted to the group. Hi, Jeannie. Welcome. Did you do anything fun for St. Patrick's Day? Let me know in the comments. How's it? Okay, I just tagged everyone, and I'm wanting to know what you did special for St. Patrick's Day. Did you have any good food? Any St. Patrick's Day food, drinks? Anybody have green beer? Okay, I tagged everyone, so we are almost ready to start. Let me know in the comments. So, Jean, you had corned beef and cabbage and potatoes. That sounds good. I think a lot of people have had corned beef and cabbage. I know Michelle did. I don't know if she's going to hop on, but she told me earlier that she had corned beef and cabbage. I'm going to wait just another minute because this is a surprise live for people, so I want them to be able to find me. But while I'm waiting, I wanted to remind you about the March online exclusives. There's some really great products in the online exclusive list today. There is the bundle, it's called Garden Poetry, and it's got the special garden textures foil sheets. This is my favorite of all of them. Hi, Mom. This is my favorite. This is called Homemade Sweetness. And it's like jams and jellies, and I think there's a honey pot somewhere. So that's called Homemade Sweetness. That's a whole suite. So there's the paper, the stamps, the dies. This is a Ladybug Picnic 3D embossing folder. And this is called Strawberries and Dots. So these right down here are strawberries. So, and this really beautiful gingham trim. And then this is called Delicate Dreams. Really gorgeous florals. And then this is a specialty designer series paper that's got foil. And then how many of you have kids in soccer? I know I had so many soccer pictures when my kids were in school. This is called A Wonderful Match. It's a whole suite, paper, stamps, and puffy. These are puffy stickers. I love the little goal, the net. Isn't that cute? And then you can get some things individually, like stamps, but this is a really hot one, Capturing Smiles. A lot of people have been using this, and I know it's sold out, and then they brought it back. So if it's still available, check it out because it's really, really popular. And then this one is really popular. It was sold out, and I don't know if it's back in stock yet or not, but there's a stamp set and then these dies to make the waves. this Cutest Crew bundle. This must be really popular. It didn't really draw my attention, but there has been so many samples made with that. So I think that's pretty popular. Something for like Memorial Day. The Scalloped Wishes, these dies I know were really pretty, and I think those ones sold out and have come back. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one for Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, Grillin' and Chillin', Barbecue Master. This is made with Sweetness Bundle. It's got the all these berries. Isn't that cute? And I like the little like recipe cards almost. And then again, these you can get, you don't have to get the whole suite. You can get these things individual. So all of these come individual as papers, stamps, and dies. So I like this one, a Lunar Luster 12 by 12 specialty designer series paper. This Wood Grain Wonders. I know that's really popular. Oh, and then this paint. It's called a Rainbow of Thanks. But you can make these different paint strips. Those are cool. So that's everything. Oh, Simple Alphabet stamp set. I like this one, this Faraway Landscapes. This reminds me a little bit of England. And then this one's cool, Dream Team. This is good for making cards for your work. Ready, Set, Go. I was going to get this one to make stuff for Monroe. And then this Make-A-Wish photopolymer stamp. This would be kind of cute for a wishing well. Love You to the Moon and Back. That's cool. Okay, I just wanted to remind you of those while we were waiting for people. But I want to get started because this is, like I said, a special pop-up live to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Jeannie said she had corned beef and cabbage. Mom, what did you have? Do you have anything special? I already know because you made the corned beef and cabbage. So, okay, I do have directions on my blog on how to make this card, so you can follow along. Let me drop it in the comments. So you can kind of follow along if you want to, or if you want to go back and make it later. All of the directions there, and I will put this live embedded in the blog post also, because this fun fold, I made it for St. Patrick's Day just because I wanted to do a St. Patrick's Day live, but this is good for any you could make it any design, right? And what's nice about it is it stands up. You can give it to a recipient and they can stand it up on their mantle. And it looks really like a lot of effort, but it's really, really easy. Okay? So it's probably, I won't say it's one of the easiest fun fold, but it is a very, very easy fun fold. And the reason I'm doing this a pop-up live is because I bought this stamp set with every intention of incorporating it into my weekly lives, but I just never got there. And so my upline made a team challenge to share this fun fold card design. And so I said, this is an opportunity to use my St. Patrick's Day, and I'll just do a special St. Patrick's Day live. So this idea was, it was a challenge from my team. Okay, and this is called the Good Luck Stamp Set. It is 167223. Yeah, if you can see that here, 167223. There is no die set that goes with this. It's just the stamp set, but things are easily cut out. I did use the you can use the Good Vibes dies, because there are these rainbow kind of dies, but they were a little bit big how I had it placed. You can change the placement, maybe put the rainbow here if you use this set, But I had an old set from Close to My Heart that had a little bit smaller rainbow. And so I used the smallest 3 dies here. So that's what I'll be using. But Stampin' Up! Does have these rainbow dies from the Sunshine Vibes. Okay. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing you need, excuse me, the first thing you need is a piece of cardstock for your card base, and it needs to be 5.5 inches tall by 8 inches wide. I used white, basic white, and let's give that a cut. Let's see. Here's my basic white, and this one is not, it's not a half a sheet of this. So it's not like you might make a regular A2 size card. It does shrink down to be an A2 size card, as we'll see. You can see it fits to be, you can put it, actually it's a little bit smaller than an A2 size card. But you can definitely fit this in a regular A2 envelope, okay? But we're going to cut it a little bit differently. So we're going to cut, like I said, 5.5 by 8. So 5.5 by 8. So I'm going to cut 5.5. And then this is 8.5. Remember, this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet. So we're basically going to cut off 1/2 inch. So we have our card base. If you use a colored cardstock, you'll need, if you want to write or stamp on the back like a sentiment, you'll need some extra white to do that. I'll tell you about it, you know, when we get to that. But it's easy. Just if you use white. Okay, and then here is the design, the cutting and scoring guide for this. It looks a little bit complicated, but it's really, really very easy. But I made it all on one sheet for you so you could take a screenshot. I've also posted this on that blog post, so it should be easy, and the directions also are there. So the one thing is you do need to do this in a specific order for it to be easy for you to cut. So the first thing we need to do is score 2 inches on each side, and it goes all the way from top to bottom. Okay, so I'm going to get out my scoreboard, and I'm going to score at 2 inches on the left, and then flip it around and do 2 inches again. Okay, so I've got this scored at 2 inches. I don't know if you can see. There, I'll make it a little bit so you can see it better. Okay. And so now what we want to do is we're going to cut 1.25 inches down in between the 2 score lines. So this is 1.25 inches down, and then 1.25 inches up, or, you know, from the top and the bottom, 1.25 inches, just between the score lines. Don't go all the way to the ends. You need to just go between the 2 score lines. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the 1.25 inch mark over here to help guide me. I'm going to line it up the 1.25 inch on the right side, and then you can, I don't know if you can tell, but on your paper trimmer, at least on mine, or on the Stampin' Up! Ones, it's got the ruler here, so you can set your, and this little thing has got a line there. So you're just going to line up the line on your cutter and the 2-inch mark on the blade, and go from there all the way down to the 6-inch mark here. And I'm just lining up the lines here. Okay? And so remember, only between the two folds. And then do the same thing on this side. I'm going to line this up with the 1.25 inches over here. And then line my cutter up with the 2 inches here, which is where you scored it, and go down to the 6 inches. Okay? So I just cut in between those the two fold lines. Hi, Diana. I'm doing a special St. Patrick's Day live. I am making this St. Patrick's Day card, an easy fun fold. I'll catch you up because we didn't do very much so far. You need to cut a piece of cardstock, 5.5 by 8. And then we scored it at 2 inches on both sides. So you can see I scored it here and here. And then I cut 1.25 inches down between the two square lines. Okay, I do have all of the directions on my blog. Okay, now we just need to make a couple more scores. So now we are going to score at 3 inches just inside the cut line. Okay, so 3 inches from the edge, from the very edge here, and then 3 inches from the edge here, just between the two cut lines. So on this inside piece, this piece here. Not up here, not down here, but just inside here. So I'm going to go 3 inches. There to there. And then I'm going to flip it around and do 3 inches again. There we go. So I just scored it there and there. Okay, and then the last thing is score at 4 inches. And this is just above the cut lines. And then down here below the cut line. Okay? So the 3 inches is on the inside piece, and then the 4 inches is the top and the bottom. Okay? Okay, so it should look like this. And I will fold it up so you can see. But again, I scored it at 2 inches on each side. I cut at 1.25 inches down just between the square lines, and then 1.25 inches up just between the square lines. And then on this inside piece, I scored at 3 inches from the edge, 3 inches from this edge, and then up here at the top and bottom, above and below this cut piece, at 4 inches. Diana, we're also talking about what we did for St. Patrick's Day. Did you do anything special? Did you have any special food or anything? Okay, so the 2-inch score lines, I'm going to make mountain folds. So I use my bone folder to give a nice crisp fold there and there. Okay. These two are going to also be mountain folds. So it's going to pop out. So again, I'm using my bone folder to make that nice and crisp. Okay, and then these ones are going to get folded back. So I know you can't see that. It's a little bit hard to do it, but I'm going to fold it back like that. Fold it back like that. Let's see if I can make it. There. Okay, so now you got the basic shape. Wasn't that easy? That was very easy, and it will stand up. So it's nice to stand on your mantle. Okay, so now let's cut the designer series paper. And you don't need very much. This is actually not a bad card to make with some scraps if you need it. Okay, this, the piece here and here, the designer series paper, is 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. And I am using the, this is Nature Walk. Remember, it's the one that I made a scrapbook layout. This is pretty. I just picked this out because it was green. It looked, you know, St. Patrick's Day-like to me. So let's see if this is 1 3/4. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to cut this 5 1/4. And then 1 3/4. It's actually 2 inches, so I'm going to cut that a little bit. And then 5 1/4 by 1 3/4. Okay, those are for these outside pieces here. And then you need 4 pieces for here and here, here and here. And those are 1 1/4, wait, 1 3/4 by 1, 1 3/4 by 1. And then I used this piece from the Nature Walk. I really liked this kind of crumb cake grid, and I really thought it went really well with particularly this part, because look how it's got all that crumb cake in that paper. So I chose that. I think I've got it already cut here. Not cut, but I've got I think a 1 3/4 inch. Yeah, so this is 1 3/4, and then you need 4 of them. Okay. Okay, so I've got that. And then you just need something for the center. Ooh, Irish soda bread sounds really, really good. So we need something for the center. And the center is the white, so I have it matted. So I've got a piece of white that I'm going to stamp on it. You don't have to make it white, but if you, if you want to stamp on it like this, I used the basic white. And that piece is 1 3/4 by 2 3/4. And again, all these measurements are on my blog, which I dropped a link. I'll maybe drop one at the end again. Okay, so this is for that piece. And then I matted this in Mossy Meadow because that was the color of the green here. So I'm going to use Mossy Meadow, and that is 1 5/8 by 2 5/8. So I've got a piece here. So 1 5/8 by 2 5/8. Okay, let's make sure that that fits on the, oh wait, did I do it the wrong? I did it the opposite way. I did it the opposite way, guys. Okay, let's do that again. I mean, it's not bad, but if I want to stamp on this, I got to do it the other way. Okay, so this is 1 5/8 by 3 5/8. We just got to take off at 1/8 of an inch. 1 5/8 by 2 5/8. And then the Mossy Meadow is 1 3/4 by 2 3/4. Okay, then this one should work here. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so your matte layer is 1 3/4 by 2 3/4. Your white or your focal layer is 1 5/8 by 2 5/8. Okay. And I've got everything cut. Like I said, if you made your card out of a solid colored cardstock and you want to use the back to stamp and to sign, then you need to cut 1 or 2 pieces of basic white or light color that you could stamp your sentiment and sign on. And remember, these pieces were 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. So if you did use a non-white card base, cut, 1 or 2, depending on if you want both sides to have, the white at 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. But I'm not going to cut those because mine's white. Okay? Okay, let's stamp. And I might try and use the new Stampin' Positioner. Okay? Because I'm not 100% sure I can get these to be nice and solid with one impression. And I want it to be all in the same place. So let's give that a try. I have not really played with this very much, so I'm looking forward to using this. Okay, so the little holes here go like that. Oh, you know what? I do have this, I did buy the Stampin' Positioner grid paper. Put that down, it might make it easier. There are these little holes. Am I just supposed to use one at a time? Maybe I'm just supposed to use one at a time. And these slide right over that. Okay, there we go. Okay. So let's try this. And like I said, I am using the Good Luck stamp set. And I want this to be near the top. And I used Lucky to Be Friends. So I think I'm going to use that again. There you go. This one I'm not concerned about stamping, but we're going to practice with this one. Okay. Kind of center that right on there. I'm using this grid paper so I know where to. Okay. And then you put this on here like that, and then you push down and it sticks to it. You see how it sticks right to that? Did I lift this up at all? No, I don't think it lifted up, so that's pretty good. I'm going to use Mossy Meadow to ink up my stamp. Okay, let's see how that does. I did get a little bit right there. This is my first time actually using this, guys, so if I don't do it right. Okay, there we go. I'm lining it up. And it's actually nice because there's these grid marks here on the top, and you can kind of line it up. And then I'm going to push down. Hi, Don. Okay, and then it kind of bounces back up. Look at that. That was pretty good. Okay. Now this next one is what I was a little bit concerned about, because you know, when you have these solid stamps, you know, sometimes if you don't get a good, if you don't ink it up very well, or you don't get a good press onto your card, you get white spots. So let's try and make this shamrock. And it's, you see, it is solid, so I'm gonna move this now because I want to stamp down here. I'm gonna line this up how I want it. I'm making the stem of the shamrock go right down the center. I did line this up right along the 4. This paper is 8 inches by 6 by 8, so. Okay, I like the placement there. So let's put this back on. Put it down, and then you can line up the lines. So it's nice because you could, you know, kind of move this side to side, but if you line up the lines, at least I can see them lined up. It's pretty good. Okay, then push it down to grab the stamp. This is pretty sticky on here, so. Okay, and then let's ink this up. This is the part I'm going to need to figure out and get used to. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. I did get some on this thing. Okay. Put this on here. Line it up. And then push it down. And then if I don't get a good impression, I could do it again, and it should be in the same spot. But actually, that was a pretty good impression. Lucky to be friends. Okay, so that worked out pretty good. Now, the cauldron, or whatever you call it, do they call it a cauldron? The cauldron here, this one might be a little bit harder. So let's do that one next. Let me get the ink off of this. Okay. Now this is the one that I was most worried about and why I wanted to try the stamp positioner for the first time. Again, this is my first time ever actually using this thing, so bear with me, but it's a good practice. But this cauldron is a very big, solid piece of photopolymer. So, you know, sometimes if you don't ink it up very well, you can have a big white space. Okay, let's see. I thought I had like a white piece that came off of there, but, oh, here we go. Let's use this. Okay, so I'm going to stick it like this, kind of just between the 1 and the 6. These magnets are pretty strong. Look at that. Pretty strong. So I'm going to put it there and there so it won't get into the way. There we go. Is this big enough? Let me make sure this is big enough. Okay, well that didn't work out. I'm not sure this is going to be, is it going to be big enough this way? I think, okay, it'll work this way. There is another, there we go. There is another, plate, a bigger plate that we could use if you want to use bigger stamps. But let's start with this one first. Okay. Okay, so I've got it on there. Let's ink it up. I'm gonna ink it up with black. And you can kind of see how big of a space that is. And I can already see how I haven't gotten all of it. Okay, let's see how that does. Because we kind of want it to be not perfect, because I want to use it again. So I put it on this spot. Okay, now let's make it go down. And I don't think it's going to be a nice solid black. Yeah, see how it's a little bit light? So let's ink it up again until it gets to be nice. And solid. And because it's attached to the paper is attached and didn't move, hopefully this is going to be in the right spot again. Okay, let's see how that one does. Pretty good. There's a little bit right there that I kind of don't like. Let's see if there's might have been something on the stamp. Okay, one more time. And then I think it will be perfect. We'll get a nice dark image. Okay, let's try this last one. Make sure it's lined up. Oh, look at that. That's amazing. Nice and dark black. So this positioner really has helped me, you know, line it up. And that was really pretty easy. Okay. So I think that's all the stamping that we need to do. Okay, again, this was a good luck stamp set. I really like the, oh, we need to do the gold. Yeah, we don't want to forget the gold. I almost forgot the gold. Let's put the gold here. And I'm going to use, this is Darling Duckling. I think in my blog I said to use Daffodil Delight. But I don't have that, so I'm going to use Darling Duckling. Okay. There we go. Okay, ink this up. And this one probably will only take one, but we'll see. But we have the option of stamping it a second or third time if we need to, because we're using the positioner. Okay. Okay, and I'm using the lines here to line it up. Did anybody purchase the... Don, you got this, didn't you? Okay, that's perfect. I don't think we need to do it again. I think Don got this as a gift, right? Let me know if you've used it. This is my first time using it, so... Okay, now we can put this away. And again, this stamp set is called Good Luck. I like the sentiments. Lucky to be friends. Good luck. You're gold. I could see this being used for a lot of different things. Okay, well, that was fun. It was a nice little attempt to use that. Okay, so let's assemble our card. Okay, the first thing, let's put these on the side. Again, these pieces are 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. And I'm just evenly spacing them around on the side panels. This light green might have been nice too. Okay, let's center this one here. And then these little ones go on the 4 corners here. Again, just center them. It's about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And I'm using coordinating cardstock, not the same as the side pieces. So something that coordinates from the same paper pack. This is from the Nature Walk. The paper is. Okay, the last one. And I am trying to line up, you know, the tops and the bottoms of these. Okay, now this one, let's put this on the mat. Okay. And I'm just centering this. It's a little bit hard because it's pretty dark on the black. Okay. And then I'm going to attach this to the front square. Well, it's really a rectangle, but I think in my blog I called it the center square. Okay. And it's going to fit right in this center pop out, because that's the part that pops out. And again, there's about 1/4 inch all the way around. So we've got the base of the fun fold card. How easy was that? Now let's just decorate. You can decorate it how you want. I wanted to use I wanted the rainbow and the gold. So I decided to do this, use these. But again, you can make this any design you want. I can see this beautiful with flowers or, you know, however you want it to be. Okay. I'm just going to fussy cut this around, just leaving a little bit of the white edge. Not too much, because I will tell you it just fits on that outside rectangle. You could also put your main, you know, image on that center rectangle if you wanted to. I wanted to use that sentiment and the shamrock. Okay, let's see. And then again, when you fussy cut out things, I move the paper and not the scissors. I try and keep my scissors in the same location and just twist the paper to try and get a smooth cut. I mean, once in a while you have to move your hand, but okay, there's one. And then let's cut out the gold. I really like this gold. It actually would also be cute for like Halloween bubbles, bubble, bubble, toil and trouble, you know, out of a cauldron. So you can make these like green in the cauldron. If I did that, I probably would color in the shamrock on the center of the cauldron, but you could definitely use this for Halloween. I can imagine this being like a lemon lime green to be like a potion. Wouldn't that be cool? So you could get more use out of this than just St. Patrick's Day. And truthfully, this doesn't say St. Patrick's Day on it. I know it's kind of obviously St. Patrick's Day right now, but it really just says lucky to be friends. So, okay, so I'm going to adhere this down. Don't have my little I should have brought that over. A little plastic sheet that I used to. Okay, so let's put this down. I'm going to put it right down here. And it basically fits right on my green strips. And then I'll put, you could pop this up, I didn't. Okay. Put this down here. Like the gold is falling out. And now all we need to do is cut our rainbow. Okay, and like I said, you could use the Sunshine Vibes, these ones would fit. The big ones are too big, but these ones would fit. But I'm using my Close to My Heart ones. And then I decided to use complementary colors. Since I had green, I thought I would go right across the color wheel and use like oranges and yellows and greens. So this is Cajun Craze, Daffodil Delight, and Lemon Lime Green. Okay. So I'll do the Cajun Craze. You could make these, you know, more traditional rainbow colors if you want to. I did look at the traditional colors, and with that mossy meadow green, I thought that these colors looked better with it. So there's the Cajun Craze with my, I'm using the third biggest. And then the second one here. To do the Daffodil Delight. Okay, so cute. And then the last one, smallest one, I'm doing this lemon lime green. Okay, here are my 3 rainbow pieces. Definitely bring that down here. Okay, I am going to get my adhesive. The rainbows are a little bit harder to, okay. And I did have to, I not squeeze them together, but, you know, I made sure it fit onto this 2-inch thing. Okay, so I got the Cajun Craze, Daffodil Delight. And you could do more than 3. I only had 3 that fit onto this. If I did the 4th one, it was kind of too big. Okay. Like I said, I could have put the cauldron with the gold here and then maybe the rainbow off of here or something, but I like it how it is. Okay, now there you go. It stands up. The person could put it on their mantle and look at it, you know, keep it up there. So fun. But it does fit into an A2 size card. You can put this right into an envelope and it will fit right into your envelope. Okay? But then it pops out. It was such an easy fun fold. And let me just go over it again. I'll show the directions again real quick one last time. Thanks, Diana. Again, score at 2 inches from each side, then cut down 1 1/4 inches from the top and the bottom, just between your score lines, and then score at 3 inches from the edges, from both edges, just inside the cut part, so just in here. And then on the outside, on this part, you're going to score at 4 inches. Okay, and this sheet is 5.5 by 8 for the card base. Okay, this is all on my blog, and I will be posting this video on there too. And then that is I just dropped a link to the resource that has, you know, all of the supplies that I use listed, the colors and the stamp set and that sort of thing on here. Okay. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed this special St. Patrick's Day live. I just wanted to do a quick live with this fun fold card. Again, it was a challenge from my upline to do this fun fold, make a fun fold card, and I thought I'd share it with you. Remember, on Sunday, my normal live, we're going to be making some Easter treat boxes. These are a couple samples I made. Okay. Okay. So thanks for joining, and check out my blog. I will post it in the group. And then you can watch the video if you missed anything. So thanks for joining. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Bye.